Alright then, we're back with another game of Twilight Struggle. I'm the USSR this time. So I'll start with my 6 influence, 4 in Poland, 1 in East Germany, and 1 in Yugoslavia. And let's see what I headline. Might headline Nasser because I have Middle East scoring. Seems like the right choice. Alright, with my first action round, I believe I will coup Iran. Alright, so he played defectors, which is nice. So let's go ahead and coup Iran. Alright, it's not bad. Could be better. But let's see, I got duck and cover to deal with. He coups Iran back. So at this point, what I should do is play duck and cover to safely get rid of it and also start creeping into Asia. So that's what I'll do. So I'll go 1 in Iran, 1 in Lebanon, and 1 in Pakistan. Because now I can score domination in Middle East next turn if he doesn't respond. The Lebanon play should make it pretty obvious to my opponent that I'm trying to do something in Middle East. But again, I guess it's kind of a natural way to move towards Egypt as well, seeing as how he defectors Nasser's. 2 in Jordan. So I can still score the domination. But should I go for more battlegrounds is the question. I don't really think it's worth the time. So I'll go ahead and score for 3 points. He plays Asia scoring, giving me 1 point. Which means I have to try for Europe now. So I'll go ahead and I kind of want to play a lot of these events, so I'm going to go ahead and play. I could try and secure Asia for later. Greece is a good take right now, actually. So I'll trigger special relationship. Let's see where he puts this. So I'll place my influence in Italy. He put his influence in Italy as well. Or sorry, he placed his influence in Canada. I placed mine in Italy. One thing I gotta try for this game is to not take too much time. You know, I already see I'm taking longer than my opponent, but I've been running out of time, so I gotta be careful. He discards containment to blockade and places 1 in France. I can go ahead and take France right now with the China card, which I think I'll do. My next targets should be Greece and Spain, Portugal. He plays captured Nazi scientist. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he needs to race me for Spain and also Greece. So let's play Korean War for influence, and I'll place in Greece. And let's see what my opponent does for his last action round. If I was him, I would place in France, but he actually takes Egypt, which is an interesting choice. Alright, I got some nice headlines. I think I'm gonna go for decolonization. Because that'll give me access to Thailand. I was kind of thinking I'd play Vietnam revolts to get access to Thailand, but now I can play it for 2 ops. Decol doesn't help me too much in Africa. It helps me with South Africa, certainly. Yep, 1 there. 1 in Thailand. 1 in Nigeria. 1 in Indonesia. Nigeria is always this like island by itself, and you gotta get an event to get in there. And that's what it always feels like. Otherwise it's quite difficult moving through these non-battlegrounds. Your opponent can always coup you. I think I'm doing alright right now. CIE created, he sees my hand, and what does he do with that influence? 1 in Malaysia, okay. That means I have to... He's threatening Malaysia, which I don't like. So what would his good coup targets be? Nigeria and Angola? It's not really that great. So what I'll do is I'll give him the coup targets, because I don't really have good coup targets of my own. So I'll take Thailand like that and start pressuring South Korea. So I need to overprotect Thailand because he has the China card. Still not too comfortable because that's quite a powerful card. But I just have to create little threats for him here and there. There are lots of priority countries right now, like Algeria, South Korea. He should be weary about playing into South Korea for now because of Korean War. But he's taking that risk, which is very interesting to me. Alright. Marshall Plan is probably going to be my play to secure Europe. So I'll place the influence to take Turkey and Spain before allowing the event to trigger. Because he doesn't have the greatest targets now. I mean, he's taking control of Canada, but other than that, he's really just overprotecting the countries he already has. He's not gaining too much benefit from this play of Marshall Plan. And thankfully I was able to play NATO last turn. Wasn't forced to decide whether to play it, whether to play or not to play it after playing Marshall Plan. So that's nice. I got it as a free 4 ops card. Little things like that really do make a difference, because Special Relationship is quite a powerful card when played for the event, the full effect of the event, that is. So being able to play cards in a nice order because they came to you in that order is always helpful. It's part of why this game is always so interesting game to game. What's going on here? My opponent is taking quite a while, so I'm nervous that there's been a disconnection. Okay, so my opponent placed in a few different countries with the Marshall Plan, and then he attempts a coup on Iran, which is not successful. Alright, so priorities for me now: Algeria and Pakistan and India. So let's go ahead and work on that. I'll do it this way. I'll use Vietnam revolts for now to take Algeria, just to retain my high ops cards for now. I mean, by which I mean my high ops card, Suez Crisis, to see what he does, and give myself more ability to respond to him in case he starts attacking Thailand or something like that. One in Thailand, one in Iraq. So exactly as I expected. So I'll use Suez Crisis, and I'm thinking I'll take Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and place one in Thailand. I think that's probably the smart play. Because I want to prevent his progress towards India. And that is a goal for him, which he's completely locked out of right now. Of course, he could always bulldoze his way through, because I mean, of course he doesn't know this, but I have a low ops hand, and he still has a China card. He could try and bulldoze his way into India, and I have to block it as much as possible. It's a fairly good start for me right now. Gotta make sure to keep an eye on the domination in Europe. It's gonna take quite a bit of work for him to prevent that domination from me. 1, 2, 3. I have 6 countries. He has 4. So it's gonna cost him 5 ops to prevent my domination. And of course, any play he makes in Europe will be quite obvious. It'll be quite obvious to me why he's making that play. So it seems like he probably doesn't have Europe scoring, meaning it'll be drawn next turn. Ideally, I can draw it and headline it, so there's a trouble-free 5 points. Alright, so I like the pace of this game. My opponent seems to think about as much as I do, which gives me more time to think, which is always good. US, Japan Mutual Defense Pact, 4 in France. That's a huge play. Ah, man. Okay, so that's a huge play. Man, I can't do much about this. If I play Formosan Resolution, then he can't take it with a China card. He would need more, so I'll just go ahead and do that to force him to maybe give me the China card back, because likely that's his best play after I place 2 into France. But I have to fight for France, absolutely. It's a huge priority right now. Perhaps he distracted me with his play in Asia. In fact, I have a feeling that's exactly what that was. So his play in Thailand kind of forced me to consider the value of Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam at a very early point in this game. So it's still early war. I shouldn't really be concerned about Southeast Asia scoring. And in fact, I wasn't too concerned about Southeast Asia scoring, having a lot of countries for it. I was more interested in preventing his progress towards India. And it almost seemed essential for me to do that, knowing that he has a China card, he has a high ops card, and potentially other high ops cards that would, greatly assist him in that process. So he kind of bluffed me out almost, possibly. So NORAD for 3 in France. I have to keep fighting for France, but I could always play a Romanian abdication. I think that actually has more value at this point. It would be like a domination prevention, but I haven't seen that 1/2 ops card, Independent Reds, I think, or something like that. So actually I'm going to just put the 1 in France. Well, not that I haven't seen it, I don't remember if I've seen it. I haven't been paying too close attention. But if I had seen independent reds, I would probably play Romanian abdication for the event, just so I control an additional country in Europe that would assist in preventing his domination, seeing as how he's going to be taking France. Alright, so I can go for some tricky stuff like playing socialist governments and taking back Italy, which is exactly what I'm going to do because I have Europe scoring. So yeah, it's kind of a great draw for me actually. I have a pretty high ops hand as well as socialist governments. Alright, so I'll go for Italy and France, because I will eventually draw, or someone will eventually get de Gaulle. Alright, so I'm gonna I don't want to play NATO, but I kind of want to overprotect Italy. I'll play Warsaw Pact formed. Yeah, I'll play Warsaw Pact formed for now because I do have Suez Crisis to help me attack France. So if he dumps ops into Italy, which he pretty much has to do at this point, he knows I have Europe scoring, then I can always attack at a different angle. I can attack France with Suez Crisis. He might give up, I mean, depending on what his hand is. Duck and cover actually ended up being a detrimental play for him. Of course, he couldn't have known that I would be planning socialist governments into AR1 ops play. He can only assume that I might have to go ahead and play NATO at this point. Don't really want to keep going with this fight. I mean, he's going to run out of gas though, so maybe I will continue this way. I'm making him spend 4 ops for every 3 ops of mine, and he, of course, doesn't know that I have a very high ops hand. Once again, this is kind of fantastic actually. This is working out really well for me. I like how this is going. So I'm wondering if I should just, because I want to keep Suez Crisis. I'll play Suez Crisis for the influence. He can't keep this up. I still have 2 4-ops cards. Kind of hoping to keep the China card because my development in Asia isn't too good at this point. So I want to potentially use it for that. Alright, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna... I don't want to play NORAD. So, you know, NATO is the better of the 2 evils for me, so I'll go ahead and play NATO. 1, 2, 3. This last influence. Where do I put this last influence? South of Africa, actually. I can take a control of South Africa if he doesn't act. My opponent might be hoping that I'm out of gas at this point and may continue to play in Italy. He actually coups Angola. Oh wow, so he forfeited. Huh.